Professor Telix watched with barely contained amusement as the class of interspecies students filed into the laboratory. Today's practical exercise would be particularly enlightening, especially with the new human exchange student present. Welcome to Advanced Xenobiology. Telix's forearms gestured broadly to the equipment spread across the tables. Today's exercise is simple. Extract the central core from these Jovian fruits and separate the viable seeds. The human student, Alex, arrived last, looking slightly disheveled. Standing nearly twice as tall as most classmates, with dense muscle, mass evident even through the standard university jumpsuit, Alex represented Earth, classified as a Class 12 Deathworld. "Sorry I'm late, Professor," Alex said, voice deeper than the high-pitched tones the others were accustomed to. "Got stuck in the low-gravity section when the lifts malfunctioned." Telix nodded. "Take Station 5, please." 20 students from across the galaxy took positions at their assigned stations. The Floatians, with their gossamer bodies adapted to gas giant atmospheres, hovered nervously. The Rigelians, with their 6 delicate manipulator appendages, clicked excitedly. 3 Centaurians clustered together, their crystalline exoskeletons catching the light. On each table sat 3 purple spherical objects roughly the size of bowling balls. "These are Jovian thunderfruits," Telix explained. "Your task is to extract the central seed core without damaging it. You have 1 standard hour. Begin." The students stared at their fruits with varying degrees of confusion. The Jovian thunderfruits were notorious throughout the galaxy, their tough exterior hiding valuable seeds used in advanced medicine production. Lorena, a Floatian, extended her wispy tendrils toward her fruit before quickly withdrawing them. "Professor, I cannot penetrate the exterior membrane." Around the room, similar complaints arose. The Centaurians' crystalline appendages merely slid off the slick surface. The Rigelians' delicate manipulators couldn't generate enough force. Telix nodded sagely. "Consider the tools provided." Each station had an assortment of implements: laser cutters, sonic disruptors, molecular separators, all standard xenobiology equipment. The students began experimenting with increasingly frustrating results. The laser cutters merely created scorch marks. The sonic disruptors did nothing. The molecular separators couldn't establish a proper connection with the fruit's unusual molecular structure. 40 minutes into the exercise, not a single student had breached their fruit's exterior, except for Alex. The human hadn't touched any of the advanced equipment. Instead, Alex had studied the fruit carefully, turning it over several times, pressing gently to test its resistance. Then, surprisingly, Alex had retrieved something from a pocket, a simple folding knife of ancient design. With practiced ease, Alex inserted the knife at what appeared to be a random point, applied firm pressure, and twisted. The fruit split cleanly along an invisible seam, revealing a complex interior of fibrous material surrounding a central core. The room fell silent as Alex methodically separated the fibers, extracted the seed core, and placed it in the collection container. "First fruit complete," Alex announced, looking up to find every eye in the room staring. Professor Telix couldn't hide his mandible click of satisfaction. "Please explain your methodology, Alex." Alex looked confused. "It's just like opening a coconut or durian from Earth. You find the natural weak point along the growth line and apply leverage. These fruits are remarkably similar to some of our tougher specimens." "But you didn't use any of the provided scientific equipment," protested Norvin, a Rigelian student who had been attempting to reconfigure his sonic disruptor for the past 20 minutes. Alex shrugged. "Sometimes simple mechanical advantage works better than advanced technology. On Earth, we'd call this a brute force approach." "Could you demonstrate again?" asked Prix, a Centaurian whose crystalline appendages had already chipped from failed attempts. With a nod, Alex moved to the second fruit. "Notice these slight ridges? They indicate growth patterns." The human's fingers traced nearly invisible lines on the purple surface. "Follow them to find the convergence point. Here." With another twist of the knife, the second fruit opened. The class gathered around, amazed at the apparent ease. Professor Telix cleared his throat. "This is precisely the point of today's exercise. Different evolutionary backgrounds provide unique approaches to problem solving. But that's not fair, protested Lorena. Humans come from a high-gravity, high-stress environment. Of course, they've developed methods for breaking into resistant food sources. Exactly. Telex's forearms gestured enthusiastically. That's the entire lesson. Evolution shapes problem-solving approaches. What seems impossible to one species might be trivial to another. Alex finished opening the third fruit, setting aside the perfectly extracted seed core. In survival training on Earth, we're taught to use the right tool for the job. Sometimes that's advanced technology. Sometimes it's a simple blade. By the end of the class, Alex had helped several students successfully extract their own seed cores by guiding their hands or equivalent appendages through the process. The humans' patience seemed infinite compared to the increasingly frustrated alien students. As they filed out of the laboratory, Professor Telex heard Pricks whisper to another student, "Imagine what their homeworld must be like if breaking into armored fruit is considered easy." Telex smiled inwardly. The interspecies exchange program was working exactly as intended. Each species had valuable lessons to teach, though perhaps none quite as dramatic as the Deathworlders. What seemed like an impossible task to most of the galaxy's species was merely Tuesday afternoon fruit preparation for a human. And that, Telex knew, was precisely why humans were simultaneously the most frightening and most valuable allies in the galactic community. Sometimes the universe's harshest cradles produced the most resourceful children.